What's happening, guys? Cooper Carter here for G66, and on this week's Fractal Friday, I'm going to show you a very quick, very easy trick that can dramatically streamline your tone chasing process. For some of you, this may be a trick you already know, but for many of you, you may realize that this trick has been hiding in plain sight. I've been working with Fractal audio units every day professionally for almost 15 years now, which sounds kind of terrifying to say out loud. But what that means is that a lot of the methods and the tips and the tricks that I turn to every day when I'm dialing in sounds for myself, or when I'm working with a client, or when I'm sharing tips and tricks on these videos are more or less second nature to me. I take them for granted, to be honest. So it's always really fun for me when I'm working with a client and I do something that, again, to me seems second nature or commonplace, or just what I would be doing, and they stop me and they say, wait, what was that you just did? And I'm able to share something that to me is just one of the tools I use, but to them opens up an entirely new method to get the sound in their head that much more quickly and that much more easily. And so this week, I want to share something that, again, some of you may already know, but that this week I was working with a client on a remote session, and I did, and he said, whoa, I've never noticed that before. And the beautiful thing about Fractal audio units is they are so deep. They offer so much complexity, so much richness, so many options that you are able to work with them for years without noticing one thing that may completely open up a new pathway for you. And this is one of those tricks. Now, again, this is one trick, and if you guys want to get the absolute most out of your Fractal Audio Systems unit, whether that is the Axe 3, the FM9, or the FM3, make sure to visit classes.coopercarter.com for my complete Fractal Audio Masterclass series. And I do want to mention that through that same website, I have recently been opening up some limited slots for virtual one-on-one consulting sessions via Zoom. And it has been so much fun getting to meet some of you guys and girls face-to-face and work on your presets, talk tone, and really dig into specific questions that you all have about these incredible units that are sitting behind me. So if you're interested in that, check out classes.coopercarter.com and book a slot. I would love to meet you and dive a little bit deeper when those slots are available. But let's get into the tip here. So this is a productivity hack, which again, may be hiding in plain sight for a lot of you, like it was for my client earlier this week. Some of you may know this, but when we are tone chasing, there are so many different options available to us. Right now, I've got an AC20 matched with a double verb cab. If I go into this amplifier block though, to try out a bunch of different amps, if I switch from this AC20 bass to the AC20 treble, I get kicked out of the amp block. So if I then want to go and try this AC20 with 12AX7 tubes instead, I've got to go back into the amp. Now, the thing that may be hiding in plain sight is this little thumbtack right here. And if you have seen my masterclass, you know that I love the thumbtack. I can click this, and now as I click through amplifiers, this amp window just stays open. This is a fantastic way to audition a bunch of sounds very quickly by simply not even using the mouse, but just using the down arrow on your keyboard. This can be fantastic when you want to just literally find out what amplifier at its default settings gives you the ballpark amount of gain that you're looking for. So are you going for something kind of vintage? Are you more looking for something modern with a vintage flavor, so a little bit more gain? Are you looking for something super high gain? You can audition all of these amplifiers just by using your arrow keys or the mouse, and as you click through them, you still have this open. I am on the Axe 3 here, but this feature is available on the FM3
It's available on the FM9. And it's also available on the brand new VP4 as well. We can go to the drive block here, select the type, and you will see the handy little thumbtack or pin, whichever you prefer to call it. Now this works in any window that has more than a couple of types. So for example, this chorus, you've got just enough types to fill up this little box that pops up here. But if we go to the delay, there are so many delays in the unit that it opens up to this same window, and we have the thumbtack there as well. Where I use this the most by far, and where I think many of you will find this the most useful, is the cabinet picker. So I've got the amplifier I want. I've got the gain I want, but there are thousands, literally, of impulse responses in the Axe 3, and all of the other Fractal units have many IRs as well. When you are auditioning IRs, it is particularly useful to simply be able to click the down arrow and go through them. So let's pick, just for the sake of argument here, the AC cabs that would go with this type of amp, and we can go through all of the different microphones that have been placed on the speaker of this amp. That is really nice there. So let's go ahead and click the X to get out of here, and let's add a second cab in. We have the pig nose going here by default. I like what this adds to tones. I actually put it on a lot of tones to add a little bit of mid-range, upper mid-range kick and punch. It can really help you cut through in a mix just to add this cab in. So here it is without it. There it is with it. But for the sake of argument, let's go back up to our ACs here and pin it. And let's pick a second amp that would be on this speaker. So we've got a 57. Let's try a 121, classic combo. That sounds really nice to my ears. Since we are on the Axe 3 here, I could add 2 more different IRs. Let's go ahead and throw in that pig just to see how it sounds now that we've got our 57-121 combo. And of course we can level these as well. It's a little bass heavy, so let's pull a little of this 121 down. And now let's do the same thing with our drive pedals. So I can go ahead and turn on the drive. We'll open up this type page, pin it, and audition a couple of drives. I've got the shimmer drive set here, which I really like for leads. So something completely different, very fuzzy. I love fuzz. My favorite fuzz is the Bender fuzz. But again, we can just click the down arrow here and audition all of these drives. Pit Crusher, always fun. Now, of course, these drives all have different knobs that you can play with after you get in the ballpark, but this can be a really useful tool to get, again, in a general area, decide, oh, I like a fuzz on this sound, or I like a distortion on this sound, or I really want more of kind of a tube drive on this sound. And then once you arrive at that, you of course can just click out and start adjusting your, in this case, shimmer drive to taste. So maybe we want a bit more treble, a little less drive. See how that's really biting, very nice. So let's do the same thing with our delay here. This can be a lot of fun because delays obviously can take on a very different character depending on how they're dialed in, not only with the time and the feedback, but also with the EQ and the modulation. A digital delay is going to have perfectly recreated repeats. An analog delay is going to have a bit of degradation and a lot less high end as the repeats continue out. And then a tape delay, for example, is going to have a lot of modulation, and again, that same kind of degradation from an imperfect analog system, which I love. One of my favorites, the Stereo Mind guy. Really vintage flavor. But let's start at the top and just hear how these delays repeat. So again, you can very easily get a sense of what the delay is doing. Like for example, I love the ambient stereo because you get a little bit of that diffusion. Almost like a stereo delay and reverb built in. And then you can click out and adjust the delay to taste. We could do the same thing with our reverb. I'm on the Recording Studio C right now, but if we thumbtack, we can very quickly get an idea of what each of these is doing without having to click back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So. Really handy, again, to get you in the ballpark. So maybe I want to decide between the Recording Studio A and the Recording Studio C, which is my all-time favorite in the unit, so I'm going to stick with that one. But when you're deciding between two, this can be incredibly handy because you're not having to click in and then click back. Again, maybe hiding in plain sight for some of you. Maybe you already knew this, but my favorite hack for productivity when I'm diving deep into the unit and really trying to explore all of the different options that are available to me. And I have run into many sounds while doing this that I have never thought of putting together before, just by virtue of going through each sound in order in a way that I would not usually do if I weren't using this thumbtack. So as the preset says here, which is linked in the video description for you to download, sometimes it's great to put a pin in it. And especially with this cabinet block, it's more or less a must-have when you are getting that initial cabinet sound and sifting through the almost countless IRs in these boxes. Now again, I am on the Axe 3 here, but this feature is available on the FM3, it's available on the FM9, and it's also available on the brand new VP4 as well.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please do make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to G66's channel, and leave me a comment in the comment section below letting me know what you would like to see on a future Fractal Friday. I do have some very exciting tone tours with some of Fractal's larger artists coming up in the next several weeks as we round out the year here. I'm very excited to share those with you guys, so stay tuned. And as always, if you want to get the absolute most out of your Fractal Audio Systems unit, whether that's the Aspect 3, the FM9, or the FM3, make sure to visit classes.coopercarter.com to join the complete Fractal Audio Masterclass series. And again, if you guys are interested in diving even deeper into the units, I am now offering some limited Zoom slots for one-on-one consults, and I've been having a blast with those. For all things Fractal Audio, keep it right here on G66, and I will see you guys very soon on Fractal Friday.